A Minnesota residential purchase agreement is a contract that legally binds the buyer and seller of a home to the terms and conditions of the transaction. That includes the purchase price, deposit, financing options, expiration date, and more. In this video, we'll cover how a residential purchase agreement works, the legal requirements in Minnesota, and what you'll need to create one. eForms, the biggest online database for legal documents. Stick around and we'll tell you where you can find an official residential purchase agreement specific to Minnesota. First, let's review how does a residential purchase agreement exactly work. The residential purchase agreement ensures that both the buyer and the seller are on the same page with regard to all aspects of the transaction, in addition to outlining all of the terms and conditions as well as the rights and responsibilities of both parties. It typically also includes any contingencies that must be met before the deal is closed. Once an agreement is met, both parties sign the document, making it legally bound. This means that the agreement can only be terminated if both parties agree to it, or if a contractual contingency or legal requirement is not met. So, what are the legal requirements in Minnesota? In Minnesota, the seller is required to fill out a disclosure form reporting on any defective conditions affecting the property. This can range from material conditions to whether appliances are in working order. The state law requires that the seller makes these disclosures in good faith. Lastly, federal law requires that for any residential buildings built before 1978, the seller must disclose the property's history of lead-based paint exposure. Now that we know more about how a residential purchase agreement works and what is legally required, here are some things you should do to make sure the process goes soundly. Include a mortgage pre-approval letter. A mortgage pre-approval letter is a document from the bank estimating how much it is willing to lend the buyer based on their credit history, income, debts, and assets. This helps the seller determine whether the buyer is financially credible. Offer an earnest money deposit. An earnest money deposit is a percentage of the offer and provided to the seller as a show of good faith. It is written into the residential purchase agreement and typically delivered when the agreement is signed. Use an addendum to modify or add to the agreement. An addendum is often included with a residential purchase agreement to add to or amend any terms and conditions. It can also detail a contingency which allows either party to opt out of the contract if certain terms are not met. If you're in need of an official Minnesota residential purchase agreement, you can get started by clicking the link right here. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos that will help simplify the legal process for everything ranging from buying or selling a house to making a will.